After narrowing my college decision down to Louisiana Tech and LSU, I knew there was only one place I could spend the next 3 to 4 years playing college football. And that was going to be the biggest and best team in Louisiana. I knew I'd have the best chance at a national championship. It was my freshman season taking over the football career of Bobby Boucher, the Waterboy. I got a sack on the very first play of my career, and we started the season off ranked number 6 in the country as we were taking on TCU in the All-State kickoff game. As the starting middle linebacker for this defense, I had to be the anchor. And near the end of the first quarter, I would shed off this blocker and get my second sack of the game, which helped put our offense in good field position after the punt, and we were driving down the field. Eventually, we'd be able to punch it in from a couple of yards out, taking the 7-0 lead, and then the very next possession score again to go up 14 on TCU in the first half. TCU was trying to get something going just before the break, but in true Bobby B fashion, I took his head off, and we were able to hold him to 0 points in the first half. TCU was in desperation mode and they needed to convert on this 4th and inches, but I'd be able to stop them just short of the line, leading my team in tackles and securing the win. We were taking on UAB in week 2, and in the first quarter after I missed this tackle, UAB put together a little bit of a drive, and things weren't as easy as they were in high school. It was taking a lot more to bring some of these guys down, but ultimately we'd be able to hold UAB to a field goal, and we were just down 3-0 now in the second quarter. This big time TFL would help get us the ball back, and our offense would put together a drive just before the half. They would get all the way inside the 5-yard line, and then have this halfback toss go for the touchdown. After UAB got a safety, we were up just 7-5, but after they scored the touchdown, we'd at least hold them and not let them get the 2-pointer. Our offense did a great job marching down the field, and the quarterback would run it in himself, giving us the lead, and then this field goal on the next possession would put us up 6. So we still needed to stop him and not allow a touchdown. I was making some absolutely clutch plays on that final possession, and I thought that I was going to get an interception on this play, but I'd hold the running back from getting the first down, and we somehow avoid the upset to UAB. We were the number 3 team in the country going into this game against Kent State, and our offense set the tone early on, scoring this touchdown in the first quarter to take the lead. But no matter how good I was at hitting people, I was still struggling in terms of defending the pass, and Kent State would go on to score a touchdown on that drive as a result. But thankfully, we had other guys on the team that were strapping up in the passing game, and even though our offense wasn't the most high-powered, they were still effective. This big-time tackle would help hold them to a field goal before halftime. For being such a highly ranked team, I felt like we should be dominating a team like Kent State, and I was making sure I was doing my part as I was one of the surest tacklers on the team, but Kent State just kept driving down the field, and this completion would get them all the way down to the 1-inch line, and they'd be able to punch it in a play later. We were down 17-14, and this stop would be big time to give us the ball back. And with the game on the line, our offense needed to go down and at least get a field goal, but preferably a touchdown to end this one. And that's what we would do, as we would throw this strike with just 20 seconds left to win it and avoid the upset to a sneaky Kent State. This was the biggest game in the country this week, as we were ranked number 3 in the country and we were hosting number 6 Auburn. Both of us were 3-0 and both of our defenses were playing really well early on, as that sack would force this field goal, which would be the first point of the game for either team. The hits on this field were more violent than when Peter from Family Guy and the Chicken were fighting. Auburn risked it on 4th and 3, and they would almost complete the touchdown until our DB would knock it out of his hands, as we went into the 4th quarter up by 3, but they would tie it shortly after. We would reclaim the lead, and with the game in the balance, I would sniff out this running back screen and tackle him for a loss, and then would come up clutch again on 4th and 6 to seal this game. We celebrate on the field after that game, and then celebrate again that night as I brought over Vicky Valancourt. We would become the number 1 team in the country after that game, but we had to take on Georgia, who was a lot more talented than their 1-2 record. But mama said not to fear no man, and I would go in and headhunt. I was making plays in the backfield all game, and Georgia went for it on this 4th and inches, and I'd be able to stop them, but they would have the ball again in the second quarter, and that drag route took me out of my pass responsibility and they'd score in my zone. So I got mad, and I took it out on this poor kid, but Georgia didn't care, as they would go up by 2 touchdowns, and in the 4th quarter on 4th and 11, our final chance, we wouldn't be able to get anything done, as we'd get shut out in our first loss of the season. After a devastating loss to Georgia last week, our first of the season, we were taking Mississippi State on in the rain, and this could have very easily been a trap game. But I was going to make sure that I was going to do my part, because after Mississippi State got inside of our 20-yard line, I'd make this big time tackle to force them to a field goal. We were still a top 10 team, but we couldn't be struggling to a team like Mississippi State, and I don't know what the hell I was doing on this play. I think I heard someone in the crowd say that Gatorade was better than water, so it threw me off my game. And that mistake would lead directly to this touchdown where Mississippi State would tie it up, but our defense came up big. With less than a minute left, our DB would pick the ball off, which put our offense in phenomenal field position, and we'd be able to drive all the way down and kick the game-winning field goal, as the rest of the defense would pick up my slack. and we get another win in the SEC. We were taking on the number 3 team in the country in Florida, and me and Mama usually eat barbecue baby gators on Saturdays anyways, so I wasn't too concerned, and I was doing a ridiculous job of sniffing out every screen on third down and stopping them, and this was turning out to be a true defensive battle as we were tied at 0 in the second quarter. That wasn't until we got this interception that brought us all the way down to the 1 yard line, and we'd be able to punch it in the very next play. Florida was trying to do something on the next possession, but I would smack their receiver like he stole something, dropping the ball to end the first half up 7-0, and after a quick field goal in the third, we were going into the fourth up 10. Unfortunately, we couldn't hold on to the shutout for much longer as Florida would connect for this touchdown strike, but our quarterback said Gator tastes like chicken, and he'd drive down the field and score another touchdown to put this game away. After upsetting the number 3 team in the country, we felt like we had a good chance of making it to the playoffs still. We just had to take care of business from here on out. Ole Miss got the flyest jerseys in the SEC, but we got the best defense in the country. And we showed it when we intercepted the very first play of the game and took it back for a touchdown. They tried to run a sneaky halfback draw, but I tackled him before he could get the first down. But on the next possession, I'd blow my assignment in the passing game and they complete this pass, which would set them up for this touchdown run, tying the game up. And we soon found ourselves down by 3. But after this big tackle for loss, our offense would get the ball back and be able to drive down the field. Unfortunately though, we got held to a field goal of our own and it was tied at 10 going into the break. It seemed like our offense just kept settling for field goals in the red zone area, and we were lucky that this one wasn't intercepted. But once they got to the sideline, I gave them some quality H2O, which propelled them on this drive, getting them all the way down to the 1 yard line and then punching it in. We were in complete control of this game by the fourth quarter, and if this receiver was a little bit younger, I'd be going to jail for child endangerment. Our defense was absolutely cooking. We were taking on a much weaker FCS opponent in this game, but it was an opportunity for our team to reset a little bit and almost treat it like a bye week. For as bad as this opponent was, our offense really wasn't doing anything too crazy, and it was up to the defense again to try and pitch somewhat of a shutout, and I was going to do my absolute best to wreak havoc out there. And even though I got this sack that pushed them into 2nd and 18, they found themselves at the goal line. And of course, I'd blitz instead of taking care of my zone, and they'd score right where I was supposed to be. And there's only one way I knew how to take out my frustrations. I might need therapy, but this'll do. And we had to play much better than we did this week if we wanted any chance against Alabama. The Crimson Tide were the number 1 team in the country, and this would mark the 3rd top 6 matchup that we'd have this season so far. Alabama would jump out to a 7-0 lead as our defense couldn't do anything, while Alabama's defense was handling business, but their offense would get a little too greedy here just before the half, as I'd get my first interception of my career, which was good enough to put us into field goal range and cut the lead before the half, making it just 7-3. In the second half, our defense was doing everything that it could. We'd make this stop on 3rd and 7, but our offense wouldn't do anything with that opportunity. And after Alabama drove the length of the field, we'd hold them on 3rd and goal, keeping it to a 1-possession game. On 4th and 5 in Alabama territory with the game on the line, we'd be able to convert and get the first down. This one was shaken out to be the game of the year, as we'd connect on a touchdown strike to Noah Kane to send it to overtime. But after we had to settle for a field goal in OT, Alabama would do just a little bit more than we could, scoring the walk-off touchdown and ruining all of our dreams. This might be one of the hardest schedules in college football history. I knew the SEC was difficult, but this was our 4th top 6 opponent of the season. I wish I could say that I'd show out, but I might have played the worst game of my career. On this 3rd down, the quarterback would break my tackle, and after the offense drove the length of the field and scored a touchdown to go up by 10, I continued to struggle in the second half as I'd miss another tackle, this time an open field 1-on-1, and I was a little bit embarrassed. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong, as the A&M running back was looking like prime Adrian Peterson out there. We thankfully held A&M to a field goal, but things didn't get better from there. We had to punt the ball right back to him, and I'd miss this tackle, which would help set up A&M into great field position. But you know what they say, big time players make big time plays in big time games, and that sack would force him into a 4th and 6, as we'd be able to stop him on the very next play and come out with a victory. I was on the punt team against Arkansas laying the hammer like my name was Thor. I should probably say pause after that, but I'm gonna just let it sit. I was getting in on every tackle, and our defense was continuing to prove to be one of the best in the country, as we held Arkansas to 0 points throughout 3 quarters. I told our offense to stop sleeping at the wheel, this ain't a Tesla, as we would go on to score our second touchdown to put us up by 14, but unfortunately our lead wasn't safe, as me and the defense would start to collapse. I thought that a 14-point lead with our type of defense would be enough to go and win this game, but Arkansas would score 2 straight touchdowns to send this game to overtime. After both teams traded field goals in the first overtime, we went to a second OT where Arkansas was up by 7, but we couldn't do anything, as our offense got stuck in a 4th and 15 and wouldn't be able to convert, and Arkansas took home the boot. The ultimate disrespect. But after the game, I found out I won the Linebacker of the Year award and was named first team All-American as a freshman, a true freshman at that. And my teammate was getting awards too. It wasn't the playoffs or the national championship, but it was a New Year's 6 game. And after being named one of the best linebackers in the country, of course I would shit the bed on the first drive. Virginia Tech was up by 7, but I was determined to not let them score another touchdown on this drive. And on this 3rd and 6, I'd lay the wood, no pause. But V-Tech will get 3 points out of it anyways. After the offense was struggling unsurprisingly, I had to bail us out again on this 3rd and 1 and force them to punt. Our offense would finally get something going in the 3rd quarter as we would score a touchdown to cut the lead. And after my teammate bumped me on this play, the Virginia Tech receiver was wide open. Luckily, we'd be able to hold him to a field goal to keep it to a 1-possession game, and our offense needed to do something, as they'd convert on this 3rd and 8 that was critical. But on 4th and 1 with the game on the line, this speed option wouldn't be able to get us the first down, and Virginia Tech would be able to run the clock out as they'd win the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And if you got this far, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the full career of Bobby Boucher the Waterboy.